Welcome to another cottage vlog. So this is just me in the car reading my book because it takes about over 2 hours from our house to get to the cottage. So I usually sit in the back, make sure that nothing shifts around in the back there, and I usually read a book or do my stuff like writing or whatever. So today I'm reading Rouge by Mona Awad. I really like this book. However, like I had started it when it first came out. I think it was last fall, like in I think October. Was it October? I think it was October. And I actually got to meet Mona Awad. It was at an event in Toronto, and it was just amazing. And I was so excited to read it. And I loved talking to her, taking pictures with her, and like meeting friends while I was there. So, yeah, it was a really good experience. However, so I got through a third of a novel, and then I don't know what happened. Usually, like, it's my fault because I'm always reading like 20 million books at the same time. So this tends to happen, especially in the last year. I've been picking up a lot of books and never finishing them. So I told myself like I'm going to restart the book so I know what's going on and I'm not too confused. And yeah, I got an audiobook loan in from my library, so I decided why not just read this book and, figure out what's going on. And I just want to know how it ends and where it goes. I will say, now that I'm reading it a second time, especially the first third of the book, I can see how redundant it becomes and how kind of like not annoying, but just it's just too much. It's too cryptic sometimes, and I feel like if you've never read Mona Awad and you start with this book, you would be maybe disappointed versus if you start with Bunny or her other book. Yeah, but I still love it. I still enjoy it. Her writing style is still very delicious to me, and there's a lot of things that I relate to, like the fact of like speaking French, and like the main character did a degree in French literature, and I'm like, wow, that's very specific, and that's literally what I did. And yeah, and then there's like this whole aspect of like beauty and like obsession with beauty and youth and like this complex mother-daughter relationship. But besides that, like it's very character driven and there's not that much plot, but I am hoping for the other shoe to drop. I'm hoping for the plot to thicken and, expand, because it's a pretty long book considering nothing really truly happens, but it does. So I'll come back with more thoughts when I finish the book. For dinner, my mom made some rice with salmon and also like kuku, like this Persian dish. Then I was reading some of this book called Ghost, written by David Mitchell. I'm reading this book because it's very similar to the book that I'm editing, a book that I wrote. I have a difficulty with this book. Like, this book has been drafting, processing for I want to say 5 years. It's insane. And every year I'm like, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to get it published. I'm going to get an agent. It never ends up happening. So this year I think like I'm going to try next weekend to just sit down and read it for a day and try to edit and then try to finish it, because it's not finished technically. And then basically reread, rewrite, and then try to find an agent, because it's just, I feel like it's holding me back. It's weighing on me. It's one of the books where I said I'm going to publish it and it hasn't been published yet. So I just want to finish that before going back to my older projects, before going back through writing my Riviera book or even my vampire book that I want to write. I want to self-publish those, but this book I want to traditionally publish, you know? And yeah, it's just so hard, and I'm reading this book hoping that it's going to inspire me. I will say I really thought that this book would be more similar to the book that I wrote, but it's really not. And in some ways that's really good, because it's always a stressful experience writing a book and then realizing that there are themes or books that are very similar to yours. But this one is definitely not similar. It's more of a kind of underground spiritual extremist cult, and it's more set in Asia than it is like in Europe or in North America, which mine is more set in North America and Europe, and mine is just more futuristic than this book. But I find this book really hard to digest. The writing style is pretty hard, but I'll talk more about it on upcoming vlogs or later on in this vlog. Here I am actually doing some personal journaling for once, and that's because I like to keep track of things that happen in my life, like especially like big things, like when I was training for being a flight attendant. Some of the like daily stuff I would write in my morning pages, but the other stuff, like I don't know, like places I'm going, people I'm meeting, things that happen with people and places, I like to keep it in a journal format. And I've been really bad at journaling now that I do morning pages, because it just feels like too much sometimes. So I'll try to like set aside time like once a month or something, and like go through my camera roll and like my gallery or my notes and like journal about people and places and things. Like for instance, right now I'm just journaling about like my experience at the Disney, where we were doing service training at Disney, and the people that I met, people I talked to, the things that I did, the things that I visited, just so that I don't like forget how I felt and what it was like. And then I'm gonna go through basically my first month as a flight attendant, like my reflections on that, and like the trips that I've taken and the people I've met and the places I've stayed at. These are things that like I can't share all online, right? But there are some things that I try to film and like vlog in, like, you know, vlog style and whatever. But there are some other things like, you know, personal feelings, personal relationships and whatever, that obviously journaling has always allowed me to explore and write down my whole life. I've been journaling since I was 10, so that's like almost what, 16, 17 years. And I've had moments where I journal more, other moments where I journal less, moments where like I'm really chronicling everything, and other moments where I like tend to forget things and, you know, skip over things. So yeah, I think that's just the nature of being a journaler.
Is the semester where you sink deeply into this. You are a writer, you are a writer, you are a writer. Excited to see some familiar names from last collectives group, and excited to get to know the new additions. Celebrating 6 months of carving out creativity for myself. Oh, it's just going to be the most delicious 6 months. I can't wait. Like, I sit at the beginning of a semester and think about how much art is going to be created and made and fostered, and you know, how many lessons are going to be learned, but also how many wins we're going to have in 6 months' time. Like, it is so exciting. And I really just want to like foster and treasure, you know, this semester with you, and to really bring some incredible, delusional, beautiful energy into it. Always feel free to share wins, to share lows, whatever you need. This is the space for it. Like, the whole point of this community is that we get to hold each other on this journey. And the reason why I started this is because I felt it was like, where is the support for us? Where's the love for us? Where do we get to talk about the things that matter to us? So please, always, it's such a beautiful thing to get to share and be with you through all the ups and downs of this creative process. Oh, amazing. All right, guys. Let's begin. Let's start this practice. If you haven't been here before, the handout, we always do a lot of journaling work, is going to be in that right hand side.
So as you can see here, I'm watching a live show by Amy McNee, hosted by Amy McNee, and this is actually part of her The Inspired Collective masterclass. You know, and you have to like pay for the subscription. It's about like $160 USD, and I saved up some money to finally join because I've been following Amy for like 10 years. Like, you know, like I've watched this beautiful, inspiring human writer, creator, content creator go from, you know, not really like struggling and not really getting anywhere to like consistently posting and creating her community. And now she's at almost like 400,000 followers on Instagram. She self-published her work. She has a podcast with her husband. She does like everything, and she does this Inspired Collective, and it's every 6 months it opens for enrollment. So I just barely made it into it, and it's just so good. It's like classes every 2 weeks, and you get to meet other people, and you get to like work through prompts with her, and it's just so amazing. And she's just an amazing person and very inspiring. So I just really want to take my writing seriously this year. I really want to go forward and edit my stuff and keep writing and journaling. And as you can see here, I'm doing my morning pages, and I'm like, you know, really good at sticking to my morning pages most of the days. And I've almost been doing morning pages for like a year now. And yeah, it's changed my life. It's changed my perspective. It's made me more creative and more grateful for my life and for everything that I do. And yeah, I just highly recommend it. And I'm going to film more videos on morning pages soon. If you want to read with me in real time in nature and enjoy nature sounds and read with me for half an hour, you can watch the video before this one where I'm just reading normally, no sped up, no, you know, music or anything like that, just reading Ghost Written by David Mitchell. And you can read alongside me, and I think I'm going to film more videos like this as the weather gets nicer because it was just so relaxing and might be relaxing for you too. So I've been reading Ghost Written, and this book is like following some kind of like cult leading terrorist group, okay, in Japan. And every chapter we follow new people and how their lives intersect and how like one decision causes like a ripple effect. I'm assuming that's what's gonna happen from the passages I've read. I'm almost 100 pages out of 400 pages in, so I'm like a quarter way in. Things are happening, but it's like I'm not really feeling that connected to the characters except the one from the previous chapter because it was more of a nicer character. But it is interesting to read how different every characters sound, and so far we've only had male perspectives, so I'm wondering if we're gonna have a female perspective soon. So you have like foreigners, you have actual Japanese people, and then, you know, so it's like a big international scandal apparently. And yeah, so it says here, An apocalyptic cult member carries out a gas attack on a rush hour metro, but what links him to a jazz buff in downtown Tokyo, or to a Mongolian gangster, or a woman on a holy mountain who talks to a tree, and a late night New York DJ? So, I haven't seen the woman yet. I've seen the first guy and then the jazz buff. I haven't seen the Mongolian gangster either, but yeah, I wonder when it's gonna come back to like the characters I have seen so far. But yeah, I don't know how this is gonna turn out. I like it. The writing style is kind of hard. I'm like surprised. Like there's some stylistic choices where I'm like, what does this word even mean? Like, what is the context of this word? So that's interesting. That doesn't happen often, but it has like some kind of like futuristic undertone, and that's what I heard. David Mitchell is good at writing, and yeah, so if I like this one, I'm gonna read his other books, because I also have his other books on my shelf. But I really want to read this one because it really sounds like a novel that I'm currently editing so that I can get it published, hopefully find an agent. So that's why I'm reading this, and it just feels like the right time to read this book. I don't know, in the spring time, although it kind of looks like it's still winter. But yeah, let me know if you read this. I never hear anyone talking about this book except from Emmy Reads channel, because that's where I got the recommendation from. But yeah.